Well, hello, thank you for joining me today again on the Church History Trail. And where we are is the little tiny village of DERVOCK, and it's not too far from BALLYMONEY. And there's some interesting things here, because this wee village has a big connection with a US president, which I will show you shortly. But there's a couple of things I want to show you first. And first of all, one is this fountain. And it says here, it's hard to make out at all, but I'll read what I can of it. I think that's in gratitude of George Travers McCartney, Esquire of Lisson-Ur, I think that is, who died 29th of August 1874. And it says this fountain is erected by a tenantry who deeply deplore his loss to them as an indulgent landlord and a kind friend. So there you go. That's the second landlord that I've come across. The other one's in Hillsborough, and the tenantry have really missed him when they have passed. And it says they're handed over on behalf of the tenantry, LGP Philgate, I think that is, JP, Chairman, 1878. So there you go, that's the fountain. And there's a wee blue circle plaque I want to show you. So I'll try and cross the road here if I can, so that I can see it better. And it's this one here. So it says Kennedy Kane MacArthur, 1881 to 1960, track and field athlete, Stockholm 1912 Olympic Games, gold medalist, marathon, and he was born here in DERVOCK. So there you go. But there's bigger fish to fry, because we're on the trail of the presidency here. So if I can get across this road, I'm going to take you in and show you a monument. So I'm going to take you in here, because this monument's actually tucked away. You wouldn't even know it's here, to be honest. I just came across it. Although I did know a wee bit of the history, because this president is actually, his ancestor was actually Francis McKinley. Francis McKinley was actually related to him, and Francis McKinley was a United Irishman, and he was hung on a tree in front of St Patrick's Church on the 24th of June 1798. And so President William McKinley is a relative of Francis, and he himself was actually assassinated in 1901, and he was also an American Civil War veteran. And it's Francis McKinley's uncle James was the great-great-grandfather of President McKinley. So incredible, isn't it? So this is the seal of the United States of America. This isn't outside the White House. It's not even in America. This is in little old DERVOCK in Northern Ireland. Incredible, isn't it? It says there, seal of the President of the United States. So there you go. So a lot of boards here, but good information. So I don't normally like reading a lot, but I'll not maybe read it all, but certainly the information here is fantastic. So we'll see what we'll read, and we'll see how far we get. So it says here, President William McKinley, 1843 to 1901. Of course, he was assassinated in 1901. It says 25th President of the United States, 1897 to 1901. When William McKinley became 25th President of the USA in 1897, newspapers on both sides of the Atlantic Ocean had already printed stories about his Ulster Scots ancestors being from the DERVOCK area. The family homestead at Connacher became world famous through photographs and postcards. In March 1898, Martha Craig, a county Antrim historian who lived near Lorne, visited McKinley in the White House to show him photographs she had taken of the homestead. She said the McKinley homestead is one of the most interesting farmhouses to be found in that part of Ireland. It is old-fashioned and rough, but strong and unyielding as the oak beams that support the roof. We build houses that time cannot weather nor age decay. And then it says, in 1904, at the World's Fair in St. Louis, Missouri, USA, a replica of the McKinley cottage was built for visitors to see. Another replica was built for the Franco-British Exposition in London in 1908. The original cottage remained at Conacher until the 1990s, when it was carefully dismantled stone by stone with the intention of rebuilding it at one of Northern Ireland's open-air museums. So that's the president there. And this is the cottage. I love this photo. I think it's absolutely brilliant. That's Conacher, DERVOCK, County Antrim, the old home of President McKinley's family. Isn't that brilliant? Just a pity it's not still there. And that's Conacher's Farm, County Antrim, home of the McKinleys. And it says then, from Scotland to Ulster to America. Scotland. The McKinleys were descended from Angus McIntosh, a clan chieftain who had fought for King Robert the Bruce at the Battle of Bannockburn in 1314, and who therefore might have come to Ulster with Edward Bruce in 1315. The McIntosh clan lived near Callander in Perthshire. And then it says Ulster. In 1690, James the Trooper McKinley left Scotland and came to Ulster with the army of King William III at the Battle of the Boyne. Just over a century later, Francis McKinley, who I just mentioned, was arrested on suspicion of involvement in the 1798 rebellion. He was hanged in Coleraine and buried at Derrycahan. America. The president's great-great-grandfather, James McKinley, lived at Conacher, just outside DERVOCK. He emigrated to the USA in 1743 and worked in the iron and steel mills of Pennsylvania. His son David fought in the American War of Independence. And so there's some photographs. McKinley was right. 1900 prosperity. The real issue. And there's the administration's promises have been kept. The American flag has not been planted in foreign soil to acquire more territory, but for humanity's sake. And it says there, McKinley Roosevelt posters from 1900. Both men were proud of their Ulster Scots County Antrim ancestry. And it's courtesy of Library of Congress. So there's a couple more boards. I don't know if you're finding this interesting, but I certainly am. This was a wee gem, a hidden gem that I have come across. Soldier, lawyer, politician, president. The 9th US president to have Ulster Scots ancestry. McKinley was born in Niles, Ohio in 1843, aged 18. At age 18, he joined the Union Army and served during the American Civil War, rising to the rank of major. Afterwards, he married Ida Sexton, who also had Ulster Scots heritage, and became a lawyer and politician, serving in Congress as Governor of Ohio. He was elected president in 1896 and re-elected in 1900. So I'll read this as well. When he became president in 1897, he was the 9th of Ulster Scots descent. I'll read that again. When he became president in 1897, he was the 9th of Ulster Scots descent and was proud of his roots. In office, his focus was on improving the economy and on international affairs. He declared war on Spain and defeated them in Cuba, took Puerto Rico and also some of the Philippines. The war with Spain ended in 1898. McKinley was fond of wearing a red carnation in his lapel and wore one for good luck. He was re-elected for a second term as president. While attending a public event in Buffalo, New York, he gave his carnation to a little girl and moments later was shot. He died a few days later. His last words were, "Goodbye all, goodbye. It is God's way. His will be done." McKinley was succeeded by Vice President Theodore Roosevelt. Roosevelt was also of Ulster Scots County Antrim ancestry, and he too was shot at a public event but survived. And there's posters from the McKinley Heir. A union in the interest of humanity, civilization, freedom for all, the peace for all time. And there's prosperity at home, prestige abroad. That's McKinley. So big connections there with the Battle of the Boyne in this family, the 1798 rebellion, the American Civil War as well, and even the American War of Independence. So fantastic. And there's proud of his Ulster Scots roots. McKinley was a member of the Scotch-Irish Society of America. In May 1893, as Governor of Ohio, McKinley welcomed the society to his state and delivered a speech to them in which he said, "The Scotch-Irishman comes of mighty stock. That we know, descending from those who would fight, who would die but never surrender." He must have been thinking of the siege of Derry/Londonderry, no surrender, when he said that. And then it says, McKinley made many positive comments about the character and contribution of the Scots-Irish people. Next to their intense patriotism, the distinguishing characteristics of the Scots-Irish are their love of learning and of religion, the love of home and family, and wherever this prevails, there are found many virtue and high integrity and good citizenship. The home and the schoolhouse have been mighty forces making the progress of the Scotch-Irish race. As American citizens, the Scotch-Irish have ample reason for pride. The Scotch-Irish were the first to proclaim for freedom in these United States. Even before Lexington, Scotch-Irish blood had been shed in behalf of American freedom, and the spirit of Patrick Henry animated the Scotch-Irish to a man when the great clash came. Then it says there, above right, the logo of the Scotch-Irish Society in the USA, 1898, and then right is McKinley giving his inaugural address, 4th of March 1897. So that's fantastic, isn't it? Absolutely fantastic. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. This is a big connection here with DERVOCK near Ballymoney and the United States of America. Thanks for watching, and God bless.